It all started with Ferguson. On August 9th, 2014, Officer Darren Wilson shot and killed unarmed Michael Brown. His body was left out in the street for hours. And on August 11th, 2014, the city of Ferguson, Missouri was declared a state of emergency as widespread protests and demonstrations erupted all over as people were very upset with the killing of an unarmed black man.
Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Oh, God, shoot!
I remember following the news story from Massachusetts, and I was just wondering how this story was affecting our community in the way that it was affecting me. So when we started classes on September 3rd, 2014 at Framingham State University, I immediately met with our faculty in the sociology department, and we thought about ways that we could create a space to talk about Ferguson. A few weeks later, we had our first discussion on Ferguson on the campus.
You must clear the roadway and leave the area immediately.
On November 24th, 2014, a grand jury decided not to indict Officer Darren Wilson. And once again, Ferguson was up in flames. But this time, I was sitting in my living room in Massachusetts watching the story, and I was texting Professor Patricia Sanchez-Conley, and we were up all night watching this happen, and we just decided that we needed to create a space on campus because we felt like maybe there were other people on our campus that were just like we were. And so, First Minute programs were born.
Everybody want me to be calm. Do you know how them bullets hit my son? What they did to his body as they entered his body?
I'm Mo, I'm a sophomore, and I'm a Spanish major.
Hi, I'm Xavier Guadalupe Diaz. This is my third year here at Framingham State. I'm in the sociology department and I'm an assistant professor there where I teach courses in criminology mainly.
My name is Avery Cook. I'm a senior and I'm a communication arts major.
I'm Virginia Rutter. I'm a professor of sociology here at Framingham State University. I've been here for about 10 years.
My name is Fernando Rodriguez. I'm a senior sociology major.
I'm Jace Williams. I'm a sophomore and I'm a history major.
I'm Christian Gentry. I am an assistant professor of music in our music department.
My name is Cassandra Tenias. I'm a junior and my major is comm arts with a minor in sociology.
I think most of the events I've attended to at the center are like about racial justice. I've been to ones about Charleston, Sandra Bland.
I've actually gone to quite a few of them over the last few years. So I've gone to discussion topics that range from the Trayvon Martin Zimmerman trial to Eric Garner, Michael Brown, Ferguson debates and topics, and to broader academic discussions on the assault on communities of color. So I've done quite a few of them.
A lot. I attended way back like the Trayvon Martin and Michael Brown ones to like the most recent BSU meeting about the racial violence that has happened over the summer. So.
The event that really focused my mind this year that I attended, I've been to a bunch of events, but the event called While You Were Out that was held early on in the semester was just fantastic.
There have been a few events, but the one in particular are the first minute responses to sort of the Eric Gardner, Michael Brown decisions. Those were like really vital to me, and those were the two that always stand out to me.
I attended the Michael Brown ones last semester, and I helped work on the While You Were Out program.
A lot. I've attended the Mike Brown discussion. I've attended the While You Were Out discussion. I've attended the Dear White People discussion. And as president of BSU, I hold my own discussions as well, so I'm always there when the discussions are happening.
I was already familiar with them, so, but like going and like learning more information about them, it was bad because like we were learning about bad things, but it was like cool because we were like talking about them.
I think that for me personally, there's of course the first personal reaction of reacting to a national tragedy and to connecting it to the fact that this is part of a broader pattern of actions that are happening and tragedies that are happening across the nation. And so at first you get kind of that personal gut feeling like, oh, this happened again, but then at the same time you think, wow, this is really feeding into this pattern narrative that has been happening since really the founding of this nation, in which the criminal justice system really is constructed in a way that marginalizes and oppresses communities of color.
Enraged and also scared and motivated. Hopeless during the summer, but motivated at the beginning to do something.
It was late at night. I'm having a good time, and I see the decision being made, and suddenly my mood just shifts. My heart feels heavy. My chest. I had a hard time breathing because it was such a big deal. These were cases that we all knew were wrong. They were all cases of police brutality against black men, and that these men were set free with no charges. It was shocking. It was hurtful, and I was confused. I didn't sleep that whole night, and I didn't know who to talk to about this.
I had known about these events, but I felt the discussion of these events together with my students and my colleagues and the leaders made me feel it focused my mind on the connections between them and the relevance to the theories that we use to talk about them and the actions that we want to take at the university.
Well, I felt really angry knowing that there's racial injustice, and I mean, of course there is, but it's really angry when you get enlightened to it. And I was sort of enlightened to it before I went there because right before the Michael Brown events last semester, I walked into the center in my pajamas and said that I wanted to help out because I was angry about it. And so yeah, I was just really angry after attending the meetings.
My heart's broken. It was actually one of the only times on campus at this event where I felt so helpless looking around, and I felt like I have little to contribute other than my empathy, at least any type of empathy that I can foster or muster from within me, and just a greater desire to speak up and speak out and to tell students to vote.
It made me feel sad. Sad because to witness, or not to witness, but to just see what people of color, people that look like me, have to go through in this city. In this country. It's like overwhelming, and it makes you think like, am I next? Or is somebody that I know next?
No.
Yeah, I incorporate in my own classrooms discussions on ongoing crime topics, and so definitely systemic policing issues and ideas of criminal justice system reform always make great classroom conversations.
I've referenced the incidents in my classes. I've taught a class called Sociology of Families. I gave a campus-wide lecture on families as they really are. and I teach another class called Sociological Theory. And I've referenced issues like white supremacy that connect with these events.
No, there was no email sent out by the university. My classrooms pretended like nothing ever happened. Even in some of my sociology courses, where this is something you expect to talk about, it never happened. If I had to talk about it amongst friends or on Facebook, the conversation just would not have come up. And I made it worse to feel alone in this.
I personally haven't, because I don't really do a lot of clubs that talk about that sort of thing. Plus, my classes haven't really talked about it, and it really feels like the center is the only place that we can go to talk about racial injustice.
Not really. I haven't. Actually, no. I think so. I think when I teach my history literature of jazz class, it was pretty raw, because this is a story. The story of jazz is the story of really the story of Black Lives Matter, and it came up a few times as we were talking about all that these artists were going through to put this music out there and how this music expresses who they are.
No, the only space where I felt comfortable enough to speak about these issues have been in the center.
It was great. It was like an open space to talk about stuff that you don't normally get to talk about, which was pretty wicked.
So like I said, I've done several of the programs, and so I think it's kind of a great outlet in the sense that you get to connect sort of your scholarship in areas and conversations from the classroom, and then really kind of apply them to a broader or wider audience. And so I think it's pretty empowering to hear from students their concerns about these issues.
Welcoming and supportive, to be around like-minded people who are just as mad as I was about these things.
So again, like I said, this was the first minute response where as soon as it happened, a professor and Kathy Martinez, the professor was Patricia Sanchez, came together and decided they wanted to hold a conversation about this, to have a dialogue about what went down, how it happened, and how this police brutality and how race is very real and how it's affecting our communities. And never have I had a space to talk about this. And even just listening to other people feel the same way I felt was such a relief. All the tension I had in my body kind of just started slowly going away, but it made me realize that there's a lot that needed to be changed, and it motivated me, it motivated me to do better, to raise awareness, because a lot of people's minds, they just thought this was a criminal getting shot, and they didn't see anything else. They didn't see anything wrong with a black man being gunned down by a police officer or being choked to death. So this really brought all those things to life, all the feelings that I had, it brought them to reality. So it was really therapeutic, I guess I would say.
It's amazing. I absolutely love being there for programs and talking and being with like-minded individuals and even people who have different opinions, because you can't just all have just one side. It's really nice to go there and be enlightened and have people agree, disagree, and teach me.
It's uplifting. It makes me feel like there's people that care about what I care about on campus.
I guess kind of relieved, because I was worried about all these things by myself, and what are things you can do about these things, and how do other people feel about these things, and I guess I didn't have to worry so much because I knew there was a network of people.
I also felt relieved. I felt comfortable, and I felt that having these events is a respect to the people who care about them. So I think that was one thing. I felt respected, I guess.
I felt like I wanted to come back and talk some more. That's how I felt.
I know. So as I mentioned, it was kind of a relief. I was still very angry because it just validated my feelings, and that's something that a lot of people need. They need that validation because sometimes we're accused of being angry for no reason, stressed for no reason, and all these things are in our environment. They're everywhere that we interact, and to have that heavy feeling on you all the time, that's hard to deal with. So to have somebody validate my feelings, to be able to express them, and have other people reciprocate, it was a blessing because I don't think I could have made it through that week if I didn't have those conversations.
After attending programs at the center, I just really felt really good knowing that there's such a solid group of people who are aware of these injustices happening in America and in Massachusetts and even on our campus. And it was just really nice to know that, like, I'm not alone with how I feel.
I felt it was an ambiguous feeling of part sadness, part optimism because of the youth, and part collegiality and kind of conviviality, like I'm part of a broader community.
At first, it's a bit discouraging to know that things like this happen based off of what you look like. But once, I started learning about it and looking into it and hearing about it, it's just motivated me to change. And when I say change, I mean in the sense of being more like in tune with people that look like me and people that face the same struggles as me. And it's making me look at life much differently than what I did look at it a year ago, even a month ago.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely, yes. Because without them, then you're ignoring the problem.
These are dialogues that I wish that we had connected with every kind of event that goes on.
Yeah. What sucks to me is that we have to have separate places for these conversations, that they're not part of the greater community. That's an issue I have, a really big issue, that we have to have places for people to talk about issues of people of color, of the LGBT plus community. I do think they're necessary because they're not anywhere else. We go to any other building, any other classroom, we're talking about the same things. We don't like to get uncomfortable and talk about these realities. So yes, these places are necessary, but what I would like to see is that these places become expanded and become part of the greater community, and that the community itself becomes a place where we can have these co-curricular activities. And I don't want these to be co-curricular. Why can't they be part of a curriculum? So there's a lot. That was like a fully loaded question because, yes, I'm glad we have them, but I'm also upset that we won't have more of them.
I think so, most definitely. A lot of people don't even know what's happening. Like, some people didn't even know who Eric Gardner was. And knowing that there's somewhere on the campus where you can go to learn about that is so important.
Oh yeah, definitely. I wish that we can put them into our, what I would like is some way in which, I don't want to be trained like a trained bird, like faculty, right? But I think that if there's a way to take this model, this co-curricular discussions, and talk to other faculty and how they go about putting this into the classroom.
Definitely, because a lot of students don't feel comfortable speaking in class. For instance, if I speak on racial issues in class, I'm automatically deemed to be that angry black woman or that black person that's crying wolf. And a lot of people don't understand that because they aren't in our position. And when I say our, I mean people of color. So if you aren't facing the social injustices that we face, then you can't really relate. But when you go to the center, people want to learn about it. People want to do something about it. So it's a different space where everyone's on the same page rather than a space outside where there could be opposing views and I could start arguments and such.
For sure, I think I'm going to keep doing, leading the discussions, showing up for the discussions, expanding the programs. I think that we could definitely use more of these whenever possible, and kind of giving students an outlet to connect to what's going on currently.
Absolutely. I am somewhat involved right now outside of like the center, but I definitely think that more action can be done on my part.
Yes, I'm going to stay involved.
I mean, I've been involved for a while, but this keeps me motivated. So in terms of, does it help me get involved? Yes, because it helps me identify other students who feel the same way I do, get them involved, and get them to kind of let their passion out through this kind of social activist work and bringing them to the center. So I think it's a great place to start and get involved.
Definitely. Any way possible that I could be involved, I try to be involved. It's the best thing that this campus has.
Hi, my name is Patricia Sanchez Connolly, and I'm an assistant professor in the sociology department here at Framingham State University. I'm also currently the Diversity Fellowship recipient for these last couple of years. I've been with the university for 10 years now. I also am an alum of the university, and I think that it's been interesting to see the change within the last few years in terms of how educated our students really want to be and want to become active in learning more about the issues that are going on. And so to me and to Kathy, it just felt like there was a lack of a brave space to be able to go and not only talk about how you're feeling, but also what are some of the things that we can do about those things. So one of the important things that happened with the first minute response programs was that for what I think was the first time, and again I'm speaking from experience as a student, as a staff member, and as a faculty member, we had an opportunity to gather in a place where it was okay to just talk about what you were thinking, to come in and be okay with not knowing what to think or to feel upset and to discuss those things. The tension here on campus or just in the classrooms, you could feel it. And I think that was common during that time in many college campuses. And so it was really important to be able to just open up a place where students, faculty, and staff could get together and be informed about what was going on and just be able to talk about how they perceived the things that were going on and how they believed that it would affect them.